You've probably seen in movies hackers turning hard drive to destroy evidence when they are being pursued by the police. Why do you think they do that? Why don't they just delete the files or format the drives? Well, because even they know that technically data cannot be deleted. It can only be erased, shredded, or overwritten. When you delete a file or data from a storage device, such as a hard drive, SSD, or flash drive, what typically happens is that the operating system removes the reference to the file location. The data still exists, but the space occupied by that data is marked as available for future use. Let me show you a practical demonstration. On my Windows computer, I navigate to drive D, delete all the PNG files, and clear out my recycle bin. The file should be gone, right? Let's find out as I launch my recovery software to scan that particular drive. After scan completion, you can see all the files I thought I had deleted still exist on my drive because it hasn't been overwritten with new data yet. So this is where secure deletion comes in. With secure deletion, data is overwritten with random information, making the original file unrecoverable, leaving no trace behind. Even professional forensic software can't recover these shredded files. I'll demonstrate how to accomplish this on the Windows, Mac, and Linux. Note that you don't have to do this for every file you delete. This method is useful for sensitive files you want to keep private. Let's get back to the demo. As I download and install my first recommended tool called Eraser. Please note the description of the Eraser tool. Next, I launch the app, create a new task. Proceed with the default run manually. Click on Add Data. Set my target type to drive or partition. Ensure my drive D is selected. And finally run the task. To confirm secure deletion, I once again use a recovery tool to scan the same drive D. As you can see, the scan was completed with 0 files found. Earlier on, you saw me create a new task from the erase schedule to erase my partition. Now, this is not the only way of deleting stuff. You can right click on any folder or file, and then from the right context menu, you can select eraser and then select erase. This will just delete your file right from the file explorer. The file is finally deleted. As you saw, it took a bit of time for the file to be deleted. This is because this is not using the normal delete method. If I go to the settings, over here, you can see the default file erasure method is set to gunman 35 passes. This 35 means 35 overwrite. It's going to overwrite your file 35 times. Now, when I click on it, you can see other standards from different countries. Now, this is the default drive erasure method. So if you are formatting a drive, this is the method it's going to use. Over here, it's set to 1, but you can change it. If you set it to a higher number, it will take longer for it to be overwritten. Just go with the 1. If you are not in a hurry, you can choose any other one. Moving on to the next tool is bleachbit. Bleachbit is both supported on Windows and Linux. Now, bleachbit does everything the eraser tool does, like shred files, shred folders, wipe free space, that is wipe your partition. It even goes to the extent of deleting all your browser's history file, whether Chrome, Firefox, Brave. It can delete all of those files with just one click, including your system history, logs, clipboard, temporary files, VLC, history, everything. And one thing I like about bleachbit is that you can click on preview, which will give you the total disk space to be recovered depending on what you select here before you can hit on the clean tool to delete all those files. But before you do that, bleachbit doesn't overwrite files by default, so you have to go to the settings, that you go to preference and then click on overwrite content file to prevent recovery. Make sure you tick this box and click on close. And now you can just clean your files and you are good to go. As you can see, so just erase all those files with just one click. Next tool we are going to use is sdelete. Sdelete is a command utility which is part of the Sys internal suite developed by Microsoft. This is what some hackers use to erase logs after they are done hacking because they don't need to actually install any software. So all you need to do is just to hit on the download here, extract the file. Don't double click this. Let me try it from the command line. Sdelete. You can see the command is not available here. So what we need to do is to copy this sdelete executable and then paste it to your local disk C, Windows, and then system32 folder. And then I paste it in here. When you are done, go back to your command prompt and type the sdelete. Now the command should be available. So you can see this help menu showing you how to delete your file and what to specify. So to delete a file here, I'll just have to type sdelete, then specify the number of times I want it to overwrite. Remember, this passes means overwrite. Let's say 4 times. And then the file name. I already have a file in this directory called hidden.txt. the file is deleted and it was overwritten 4 times. You can use this same command to delete an actual drive. So you type in sdelete and then you specify the passes, and then if it is a drive D, you do the column. I'm done here and I'm moving on to Linux. On my Linux machine, I'm going to launch my terminal and then move into my desktop folder because of these two files here. The command to overwrite the files is the shred command, but let's first view the contents of this file. So let me list this. Now I'm going to cut this YouTube text file. As you can see, this is the content of the file. Now let's use the first command, that is shred, then youtube.txt. This will overwrite the files 3 times by default, but I'm going to add the -v here so we can get a detailed output. So this is the detailed output. It overwrote the file 3 times with random characters. Let's view the youtube.txt file to verify. This is now the contents of that file. To remove your file, you just use the normal rm command and then the name of your file, and you finally remove it from your desktop. However, we can use the shred command more efficiently, where we can overwrite shredding and remove the file in a single command. So I'm going to modify the command again. So it's going to be shred and then the -v to get a detailed output, and then the z to overwrite and rename the file to 0, and then the u to remove the file after shredding. I'm going to leave a space and specify the -n, specify the number of times I want the file to be overwritten. I'm going to specify 5, finally the name of my file. Then I press enter. As you can see, it first overwrote the files with random characters because of the 5 we specified here. And then the z is these zeros you see here. It overwrote the content of the file with zeros and then rename the file each time it was overwritten to 0. Finally, the file was removed because of the u I specified here. Another command we can use here is the srm command, which stands for secure remove. This is not installed on Linux by default, so you have to just type sudo apt install secure delete. Even though the tool is secure remove, the package name is secure delete, so take note, I have mine installed already. So all you need to just do is just type srm and then the file name. Let me first create a file. I've created this file you see here with the touch command. So to delete this file, just type in srm then the name of your file. Now I like to add the -v to get a detailed output. As you can see, this wiped the file 38 times by default. To get more info about these commands I'm using, for example with the shred command, just type in shred and then the -h. Sorry, just type in shred and then the -help, and then you can read more about this command. And also you can just type in srm-h to read more about this command also. Moving on to Mac. So on your Mac, just launch your terminal. Increase this a little bit so we can all see. Notice I have a file and then a folder here on my desktop, so I'm going to move to my desktop. So to actually overwrite files, I'm going to utilize the built-in rm command as we normally use for deleting files, and then the name of your file or the path. But to actually overwrite, just bring the dash and then the uppercase P switch. This will overwrite the file 3 times by default. As you can see, the file is gone. This same command will not work for overwriting files in folders, so for that you have to use the -uppercase P, D, and then R. For those who are not familiar with the terminal, just type in this command and then drag and drop whatever you want to delete over here, and this will overwrite your files 3 times by default. If you don't bring the -P, this will not work. So I'm just going to clear it so we can all see what happens if you use only the -P. As you can see, it says the folder is a directory. So when I add the D to it to let it know it's a directory, you can see it says directory is not empty. So to let it delete everything in the directory, I'm just going to add the R switch to it, and this will, as you can see, the file is gone. Now to get more info about this command, just type in man and then rm, and then you can read through, and this is how I got to know the overwriting thing. Now, one more tip and trick I want you to know is to change the name of the file you are trying to shred to something unrelatable, and also change the file extension. Let's say if it is a JPEG file or PNG file, you can change the extension to PDF or PHP. Just make sure you change the file format to any other thing. So after deleting the files this way, the only way to recover your files is to travel back in time to the moment right before you hit the delete button. Catch you guys in another video.